Welcome to Wonderspace. It's great to have you on board. My name is Steve Cole, and since September 2020 we have created 70 episodes that orbit around wonder and stories of hopefulness. Today is the 26th of April, and this week's Wonderspace is coming from what is known as the 8th wonder of the world, the Eden Project in Cornwall, England. A huge tropical garden that is fast becoming a unique resource for education and knowledge towards a sustainable future. At the Eden Project today, 120 of us are gathered for the Boardroom 2030 event, facilitated by the brilliant Charlotte Sewell.
So Boardroom 2030 is a project inviting any organisation to consider what their boardroom could look like in 2030 and to host a session as if it is 2030 and to really think about who might be around the table for that conversation. So it's 2030, who's involved in your decision making in 2030? Is it your customers? Is it your suppliers, your employees? Is it young people? And then to really consider what's on the agenda for your business in 2030. So what are the brilliant things that you are doing for people and planet in 2030?
Brilliant. Was there any standout moments for you today that inspired you?
Yeah, so I think the beauty of Boardroom 2030 is playfulness and having a really different way of thinking about the future that's a bit more experiential. So the bit that comes alive for me is when we actually have those live conversations, bringing together different perspectives. So my highlights were two things probably: hearing from Good Energy's Good Future Board, and just that moment where the audience could suddenly see, wow, these young people know exactly what they want to share and they're bringing so much value. That was brilliant. I also really enjoyed having the chance to do a live mini demo, a mini Boardroom 2030 demo with the Eden Project. And what was wicked then was just really seeing what kind of rich conversation you can have when you bring activists, artists, young people, designers. And I think just the minute that conversation started to happen, ideas were bubbling up. And after the guest board happened, so many conversations begun in the room, and I've heard of all these different plans that have come out of it. And that was just a 25-minute chat. So what can you do with something small, and how can you start these ideas to grow?
On Wonderspace, we ask all our guests to share their story of hopefulness that is not their own, about a person, business or non-profit who are doing amazing things for the world. I ask this question to people who have been part of this day at the Eden Project.
Hi, I'm Amelia. I work in renewable energy and I do a bit of climate advocacy work outside of that. And my hope for the future is with an organisation called Catalyse Change, and they really work on empowering young women in their future in terms of sustainability and really empowering them to know that they're making a difference and kind of not following the standard trajectory of work, but really connecting people with networks and just really empowering them to know the change that they can make. So I'm really excited to see the young people that come out of that and to see them blossom and see the changes that they make.
I'm Chrissy from Creative Conscience, and my story of hopefulness is, and this might not be a very popular story of hope, but it is actually Extinction Rebellion. I believe that we obviously need businesses, we need policy, government, but we also need civil disobedience in order for us to get back on track, in the same way like the civil rights movement or the suffragette movement, or even before that, the abolishment of slavery movement. And I believe that XR is a piece of Extinction Rebellion, is a piece of the puzzle that we need to get our planet and our world to a place where it can survive for everyone.
Hi, my name is Joe from Wonderspace Film Co. So we're a video production company, and my story of hopefulness is seeing the great Cornish company down here called FlexiHex. They're doing this amazing kind of protective cardboard packaging, things like drinks bottles, surfboards, all sorts of things. And it's just amazing, they're growing fantastically, and I've seen their products and things. You get so much plastic when you get drinks that never do anything. And the fact they've got this great product and they're really reaching out in the industry, to me, is just really inspiring and hopeful for Cornwall and the planet.
Hi, my name is Sonetta. I work for Uber, and my story of impactfulness is about a woman called Paige. She used to be the chief of staff for the governor of California, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and his wife. And she then went on to work on CSR for Google and is now the head director of social impact at Uber. She's a fascinating woman who has brought the political to the environmental to the tech into one spot and is using the platform of Uber, of the many platforms Uber has, to affect change for the communities we exist in. I think she has done it so well in terms of infusing all her expertise, but all the others she doesn't have, by involving us who come in and work on her team who offer different perspectives. I have a lot of love and adoration for her, and I think she's amazing.
Hi, I'm Anur Kamran, and I'm here with Good Energy. My story for Hopefulness is a Pakistani, New York-based activist called Ayisha Siddiqa, and she talks about climate justice, but from a global south perspective, particularly for the north of Pakistan. But she also talks about it from the sense of communities that are being affected in New York itself, and she talks a lot about fossil fuels and polluters out, and she just organizes like 500,000 people in New York. So I think that's really inspiring, and the fact that she can bring so much change and she's just a university student.
My name's Alan Moore. I'm the founder of the School for Beautiful Business, and my story of hope is this company called Climeworks, which are building these incredible machines that are sucking huge quantities of carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere, so climate take back. It's not just about planting trees. We've got to do something on a much, much bigger scale. And so I think they're a fantastic company, a fantastic business, and one that the world truly needs.
Hello, my name is Melissathorpe, and I am the head of Spaceport Cornwall. And my story of hopefulness is our feature in the final frontier, which is space. I've just returned from an amazing trip over in America where I went to a conference which was full of the usual space companies, but there's one that stuck out, and it's called Space Foundation, and it's looking at how we make space more sustainable. So whether that's what we're doing in space or how we're getting to space, and who can access space, so opening up space for good and for all. And they really inspired me to do that here from Cornwall.
My name's Psy Bellamy from the Eden Project, and my story of hopefulness is actually from days like today, things can genuinely change. There's such an energy in the room, a real crackle, and you realise that we can talk, but doing is really powerful, and most of that happens when people come together. So hope for me is bringing people together, sharing a sense of let's do things together, and setting out the things that really matter to us, and days like today really make a difference.
My name's Zoe. I'm from the Cornwall Chamber of Commerce. My story of hopefulness would be our charity of the year for the Cornwall Chamber of Commerce, who are the Wave Project. They're just incredible. They do the most amazing things for young people in Cornwall through surf therapy. I'm sure everybody's heard of them, but they just do amazing things, and we just can't shout out our love about them. They're just brilliant.
So Phil Clark, I run an environmental consultancy, Consume Limited, one of the sponsors for today. My story of hope, Earthwatch Europe, brilliant environmental charity, but very focused on environmental education. So helping people, whether that's children, whether that's corporates, to understand what's really happening and their role, giving them the agency to then do something about it through lots and lots of different initiatives.
I'm Jess from BLab UK. I work in the community team there, working with all of the brilliant UK B Corp businesses. My story of hope for change is a company called Hubbub, who you guys might have heard of. They're an amazing B Corp based in London, but they work with lots of communities, and they create really beautiful, joyful behavioural change innovations that engage with the public and with communities on topics such as the climate crisis, but also kind of social justice problems such as the cost of living crisis with their community fridge intervention. And they create really creative and joyful experiences that show the kind of world that we could live in if we get it right. And I think it's really exciting to see that optimism in real life.
My name is Sam Armondi. I'm co-founder and managing director at Thought Quarter. We're a software development agency based here in Cornwall. My story of hopefulness, purely because I've seen them walking through the door right now, is the guys over at Boex, Will and Sam. So I think they're living proof that you can take something that means the world to you and turn it into a viable, sustainable business idea. Because if you'd heard what they were up to right at the start, you would have thought, why? You've got a thriving business already, not bother changing it. And what they're creating is something amazing and disruptive for the sector that is also good for the environment and good for their people. It's just a brilliant story all around.
My name is Paul Atkinson. I'm here representing Greenworks Consulting. My story of hopefulness is with a lot of the non-profit organisations out there. So I work closely with one called Protect Our Winters, which looks to educate and empower kind of outdoor enthusiasts, so people that are really passionate about going into the outdoors, whether it be the snow or the forest or whatever it may be. It's a relatively new charity in the UK, and we look to really kind of educate and motivate these people to go out and to protect the places that they love doing things. And this is really powerful because these people are so connected to nature that they've got a really good incentive to protect it and learn more about what they can do in their own lives or in their communities or with their businesses in order to make these places the same for the next generation.
Abigail Kidd, and I'm working for Sea Shepherd UK. My story of hopefulness is our partners, Forest Green Rovers Football Club, who have really shown that sticking to your green credentials and your hope for a more sustainable future can really take you way above and beyond anything that anyone thought was possible. And there isn't anything that is impossible, it's just totally the way that you approach it and the passion that you put behind it.
So Matt Hocking from Leap, one of the sponsors of today, what are your reflections of this amazing day?
Great question. So reflections of the day for me is, I don't know, I'm just buzzing basically. You know, we've been talking about igniting a fire, and so today was just, you know, gather a load of people together that might not be the usual suspects, not green converts and stuff like that, are just interested in business being done differently and maybe getting some guidance, and then throwing them into a kind of an arena that they didn't know, because they didn't know there was going to be a bunch of young people on stage and we were going to have 10-year-olds and 14-year-olds right up to 30-year-olds in the audience. So my reflection is just that we've landed a piece of magic. I think that's simple as that, and in a beautiful place like Eden Project, the sun's come out, and you know, you can hear in the background people are still here, they're not leaving, they're still talking. So yeah, I'm just happy that we were able to convene and host this, you know, from this wild idea of hearing the challenges of businesses in Cornwall being up against the coalface. They couldn't see even the next day how they're going to survive, how can they even act on the environment. So suddenly we've got people wide-eyed open going, we want a Boardroom 2030, we want some youth advisors, we're going to contact our local school. So we've opened some eyes. My reflection is, I'm just very happy.
To find out more about Boardroom 2030, go to their website boardroom2030.org. To engage with the previous 69 Wonderspace episodes, go to our website ourwonder.space. It's been a joy to be here at the Eden Project in Cornwall at the Boardroom 2030 event, and I hope you can join us next week for more wonders and stories of hopefulness.